Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about something weird that happens. There is a disturbance in the force. Apple is for poor people now, or is it a trap? So let's dive deep into it. Now, this whole hype cycle happened because of Mac Mini M4. So this puppy basically. Now let that be very clear. Macs are needed for certain workloads because here's the, if you are an individual who are working and someone else is paying you and they're like, we are using Macs, you have to use Macs. It's same as Linux. It's like, oh, you work on Red Hat, you pay for it, I will work on it. It's as simple as that. So Macs are desirable. Even like, no, I'm a Linux man or I'm a Windows man. It does not matter. There are scenarios, there are fields, especially media industry, and I do not mean media as in like VFX. No, they do not touch Macs. But when I'm talking about like just light content creator, a lot of them use it. And when it comes to basically print works, magazine work, photos and all that, you will find a lot of them, like a lot of industrial use are going on that. Again, even though their backend may be different. So Macs are used. So there is a scenario, there is a demand for Macs. And Macs are very expensive. Like this is the one thing that everybody knows about Macs is like while iPhone does have cost competitive, and at this point in time Androids have become expensive, but Macs were always on a different level. And this is from the long ago. This is when they had Motorola as CPU. Macs were always like expensive. They were always like Workstation. So it was always very expensive system. So, and a lot of people do like it, whether I like it or not. I hate this company and I hate this ethos and their work ethics, but a lot of people do like it. That's the reality of it. So how the heck they made a computer that is cheap? And what does that cheap means? Here's the there is no true PC alternative, like PC as in like the computer alternative. Meaning, if you are spending that amount of money, $600, you cannot get a computer that will outperform this. Like you just cannot. Like no, just like no. It's like how the heck that happened? Because again, I am old enough where I remember Apple's trash can, their original cheese graters. That never happened. So how the heck this happened? Well, so let's dive deep into it. So what are they offering, right? What are they offering so that everybody is so confident like there is nothing there, unless like I think 1 or 2 generations of x86 process upgrade has to happen before somebody can claim this. Well, they have really good single core performance, meaning they have few cores, as in like they have few cheetah cores, but they're cheetahs. They're very fast. While can you get a same kind of power envelope kind of SoC from, let's say, Ryzen or Intel that can compete? Absolutely. Same, small size and all that. But they will generally be more powerful when it comes to multi-core. Like, okay, I'm flexing myself. It's like I have a lot of horsepower. There's a few cheetah power. So core-wise, when one process thread is running on one core, this puppy is fast. Like freakishly fast. Like damn good fast. Now, at this point in time, what does that mean? That simply means this has unmatched in energy efficiency at load. Now, thankfully, Ryzen became a success, chiplet design became a success, and we are in a scenario where thankfully Apple efficiency does not mean like, I am consuming 1/20th of the power that there used to be a time. It was that bad. Like it was horrendous, especially during Intel 10th gen to 13th gen debacle. It was like bad power consumption wise. But right now, power consumptions are genuinely good. And again, you can have a full-fledged desktop PC, similar kind of price range, and power consumption would be only 3x more. Now, 3x may sound very bad, but you have to understand it's multiplied by 60. Not that much bad. And again, mini PCs, it will be in the percentage range. It's like, okay, 50% more maybe. So it's like if this puppy is consuming 60, that puppy will, like another Ryzen micro PC will consume give or take 80. Not even 80 full, but you get the point. Like it's good that flat out Apple does have very good energy efficiency, no discussion about it, but it's no longer like whoa difference that used to be there. Like I'm old enough that I remember like whoa difference. Like Apple used to give that much energy difference. Yeah. But again, thankfully in last few years there has been some serious clawback, and even Intel Core series, that is the latest one, that's actually good. That's actually in energy efficiency wise, it's good. It's finally reaching where, and I can easily see like especially if you have to do heavy crunching work, you're like, yeah, we have the same efficiency as that, because ASD, while this does consume less power, it does less work. When you have like a lot of work, like crunch this file, Apple will do it, Intel will do it. Only difference will be Intel will consume more power, but it will do it quickly. So your energy consumption, basically the crunch power wise, is actually good. So it does have unmatched energy efficiency as a unit, meaning if you're just buying this, you do not have to think about it. That does matter. And one of my personal favorite, which I do respect the engineer who came up with the idea, it does have internal power adapters. I do not like computers that have external power bricks. I do not like this. Like I get it for laptops, but not for like this micro. Oh, this micro PC is so micro. It's not micro. It has a giant power brick behind it. Like there are people who are putting GPUs, like proper gaming grade GPUs into office PCs, and they're like, hey, look so small and like 2-liter PC that has a lot of power. It's like, no, it's a 8-liter PC. The 250-watt power brick is this size. So I do respect the fact that it directly takes AC, although I do hate the fact how the heck it was allowed that this puppy has a metal body, aluminum chassis, and does not have earthing. How the heck that was allowed? How? So, but again, it is allowed. It's Apple apparently. It's like, Apple never fails. It's like, we have learned it the hard way to not trust it, but again, it's Apple. So it does not have earthing, but I do like the fact that it has power brick built into it. That means it's a truly small compact PC. Now, can you get something like this in AMD or Intel? Yes, but it's not as compact. So you can get it, but it's not very common. So very small, very compact, and very quiet. And in terms of the cooling, this is one thing that Apple has to given credit for. Only other companies that can match it is Sony and like Microsoft when they're making Xbox. It's like, oh, this is the full hardware package. So they're like, okay, where the air comes in and where the air goes out. In this, air comes in the bottom, goes out the bottom. It's like, what? Yeah. So it's actually very clever design. The idea is like they have sectioned it off, siphoning air from one end, exhausting it on the other end. Done. Go home. So very good system. And can be great performance PC. You can, like flat out. Can you beat this PC? Of course. Can't do that in price. Like you can get a computer, again, gaming. If you're touching gaming, then this is not even a competition. This is like, no, lol bro. Like again, no matter how much they are talking about gaming, this is one thing they either do not understand how to do, or they are just too egocentric to actually develop with the developers to. It's like, okay, bro, let me understand what you want to do. I have seen Intel graphics card improve faster than Apple. So flat out, like you can get better performance in every aspect. Let that be very clear. Like, no, this can do AI. You can get quad row cards. This can do this. You can get flat out giant multi-threaded core systems that could have 128 cores. Like you can get more power. Even energy efficiency. If you go into ARM processors, there are ARM processors computers that are far more power efficient and have far more cores. So you will able to beat the performance. Just can't beat at the price. Like that's a genuinely good conundrum which never happened on Macs. So that's one thing. And again, you can get the small computer that is same size-ish, so the penalty power brick will be generally out and cost will be the same, but it will be weak in some aspect or in all aspects. So the offering is generally good. Like my personal favorite, it does have AC. I do not like the idea of having, oh, tiny PC with giant bricks. I do not like that. So this is good. Having a proper cooling system, that's good. Thunderbolt 5. Again, you need it because you do not have ports. Apple does not understand the technology of ports, and it does have very weird Ethernet because you can upgrade the Ethernet from 1 Gbps to 10 Gbps. Cool, awesome. It's like we did not jump from 1 Gbps to 10. We jumped from 1 Gbps to fiber optics, and for bit higher speed, we went to 2.5 Gbps and 5 Gbps. Both are missing. It's like, are you using the same supplier that you were using in the old cheese grater Macs? Because again, they also had the same thing. It's like 1 or 10. It's like that's very weird thing, because again, right now you can buy routers that have 2.5 gigs, you can buy switches that have 2.5. Unify just released the very cheap micro, basically a router that has, not router, so to say, switch that has like 5 ports of 2.5 Gbps. Not having that is weird. So flat out, the offering is good. Let that be very clear. The offering is good. However, where comes the trap part? Now, yeah, it's a basically overgrown mobile phone. It's a very cleverly done. I have to give credit to basically Apple's marketing team. They are really good and actually understand the market. So that is a very good thing. But it's too limited in the base model. The model that people are seeing, that's like this puppy is like, oh, it's for 60,000 rupees or like $600, whatever have you. This is like really awesome. Yeah, not really. Like flat out, not really. It's basically having a giant engine and tiny wheels that does not have enough patch to grip the road. So because the RAM is limited and SSD, I do not get it. How the heck that amount of SSD is acceptable to any individual that is buying a computer? My ancient DSLR has 256 GB SD card. That is Canon 800D, ancient technology. That has same SD card size as this. How the heck that's acceptable? Like I do not, like even at this price, I do not even know a single laptop manufacturer that is selling anything less than 1 terabyte. This is not, this is like what your mobile phone has, man. Like that's like, what the hell? So that is too limited. And 16 GB, you may think, oh, that's more than enough. No, it's one of the same debacle. They had like, oh no, 8 GB is enough. Then they had to release the latest version of their own application, and it's like, yeah, minimum is 16. So anybody who bought 8 GB, if you, so it's one of those things. 16 is not enough. It's barely enough today. Let that be very clear. It is enough today, meaning you buy it today, you're like, oh, it can't do. It's more than enough. It's just that it won't last, as in few years. Now, why would that happen? You have to understand, if you're old enough, you know internet before fiber optics. And like, what does that has to do with it? Web pages are heavy now, like very, very ludicrously heavy. And it does not mean, oh, it's a Chromium browser, or it's a Google Chrome, or it's a Firefox, it's Safari. It does not matter. The web page itself are becoming heavier. Like Amazon is becoming heavier, YouTube is becoming heavier, Facebooks are becoming heavier. Like the amount of animations and all that, and there are some extensions that people are working behind the scene to improve that also. You do not want to look into it. The file size, the megabytes that you are loading, and the amount of RAM you need just to load the web page, it's going bonkers. Like again, if you have the original Raspberry Pi, when it was launched, more than good enough to do web browsing. Nowadays, it's like, yeah, even YouTube stutters into it. It's not the basically crunching power lacking, it's just the RAM. You need huge amount of RAM, because again, web is growing so fast. I think we call it Web 3 right now. So it is one thing that you may not notice today, but if you buy this today, in few years you'll be like, and again, this is the reason why netbooks did not return. Netbooks faded out, because again, if they wanted to cut money on RAM, they just realized very early on, it's like web pages are heavy now. So, and 256, that's a joke. Like, I'm sorry if anybody's like, oh, it's more than enough for computer. No, it's not enough for computer. You're gonna like either attach it to an NAS, have it attached to a server, and here's the deal. If you have those things, there is a very good chance you're gonna pay more, because you will know, yeah, that's not enough. And again, people are saying like, you can do video editing directly on the SSD. Like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, again, you're supposed to have SSD, you're supposed to dump the file into the computer SSD, disconnected. So if you crash it or crunch it, whatever have you, you have one backup. Thou shall not directly edit at the source. It's like, I'm going to connect my UHS-2 SD card and directly edit on it. And again, you can do that with CFast. CFast are that fast, but you're not supposed to. So this part is just a joke. Let that be very clear. Any Tom, Dick and Harry comes to me is like, 256 GB in year 2025 is enough for a PC. My man, have you seen mobile phone photos? How many photos we take? 256 GB, like. So that's there. And you cannot upgrade it. And this is the part where I was like, Apple has to be an evil company. It is an evil company. So it's like, yeah, that's the proprietary. No, the SSDs are not replaceable. You cannot replace it. Apple could replace it. But as of now, when I'm recording this, they have not like, here you can buy SSD and we're going to sell your kidney for it. They will do that. Again, there is no promise, there is no guarantee. Just because it has slots does not mean it's exactly M.2. It's not user replaceable. I genuinely hate fix it saying it's upgradable. It's not. It's not you. It's not a standard. It's proprietary. It's up to basically Apple to release it or not release it. So it's there. It's not a user upgradable. And RAMs are also soldered to SoC, meaning if in future, like, hey, I really need more RAM because again, freaking, YouTube 2.0 is like so heavy. Yeah, you have to upgrade the motherboard. Again, it can be done in other systems, even in laptops, can't be done on Macs. So that's there. Now, what does that mean? That simply means there is a very good chance, very tiny chance that this puppy is a loss leading product. Meaning they just released it to capture the market. Now again, companies do that again, and sometimes companies do that because they know they're gonna make money off other ends. For example, Sony PlayStation 3 was a loss leading product, but they knew they will sell enough games to make the money. They did. And printers, horrendously loss leading product. Then why did they do it? Because they spent $5, sell it for $50 the ink cartridge. So they make all the money back. In like 2-3 cartridges, they make all the money back. And again, if you use it more, they're like printing money, baby. That's why ink tank printers are so expensive, because that's not loss leading. They're assuming you're gonna buy a few tanks. It's not gonna give them that much money. So it's a loss leading product. There's a very good chance of that. And again, 256 GB for a computer. I mean, like, I do not even know when I've seen in Amazon, it's like, oh, I have 256 GB SSD only. Like even very cheap, very old laptops, they are like, okay, 256 GB SSD for your operating system and 1 terabyte mechanical drive. This is not expensive, this is mobile phone. And here's the deal, if you spend money, what if you're like, me rich bro, me can spend money. You have to spend 1 lakh rupee on the same, everything same, main motherboard, everything. That's why I think Fixit Guide is saying it's repairable, because it's a daughter board, so to say. You can swap the daughter board, put a different one. That puppy will give you to 512 GB. That's not terabyte. We can buy 4 terabytes, man. 4 terabytes. By the way, in the full size, you can get 8 terabyte. So, and again, price wise, this is where Linus Tech Tips directly come. It's actually the price of gold. It's literally the ink cartridge market. It's like, hey, we spent this much, so let's assume this is the price at cost price. Like, this is how much they are costing. They're selling it just for capturing marketplace, and this is where they're gonna print money. And you're like, why would Apple have to do that? Yeah, Apple is not doing so hot, so to say. Like, why? Well, Windows is also not doing so hot, like Windows computer. Then who is doing hot? Chromebooks. Chromebooks are getting hot, especially after pandemic. They are getting hot, meaning they're selling like hotcakes, a lot of them. And again, they're selling in educational market. Nobody was paying attention. They're just like, let me take this whole section. That's why they have a student discount so heavily. So fundamentally, there is a very good chance this is a loss leading or at cost product, meaning they are barely making money into it just to capture the market. And they know, if you are wise enough to know computers, you will be like, yeah, bro, 256 GB is a joke. I do need 512, or God help you, like 2 terabyte or 4 terabyte. You have to spend that, and that point is like, and if you are a heavy user, you're like, yeah, bro, I do need RAM. They're like, they're gonna do that. And again, you're like, oh, RAM is soldered and all that. It's a common part. You can order it. It's not magic. I do not know how the heck Apple convinces people, oh, it's magic, it's soldered on a SoC. You can pick up a phone and order the part. It's not magic. It's just the customer, especially the SSD part. Again, SSD part is like, let me piss on the people. Again, I get the part of soldering RAM. But again, SSD was just like, no. That's just like, 512 GB, man, in 2025. What the hell? My brother's basically smartphone has more than that. So this is a trap. Now, is it practical? Let's say you bought it as a computer. It's like, oh no, this is a workstation computer and all that. In certain use cases, more than good enough. But again, the reason why I'm so anti-Apple, because again, if you reward this sort of behavior, it dooms the whole computer industry. Because, oh, Apple makes a laptop that literally breaks so badly that companies have to basically do a lot of repair. And Apple is like, no, it's your fault. And then they have a lawsuit and they lose. Every other company is like, oh, we can piss on the customer and we still get paid. So it's not only you are hurting yourself, it's you literally harming entire industry by supporting this. Like, this is not acceptable. That's why, like, fundamentally, Samsung pays very little to Indian workers who are assembling their smartphones in India. You know who pays less than that? Apple. They pay zero. I'm not even joking, look into it. And Apple is like, yeah, we $2 trillion company, we did not know how the heck this company was giving us so low prices that was cheaper than Foxconn in China. Yeah, they were not paying it. Flat out not paying for months. So flat out, if I reward this, it literally destroys. Samsung's like, hey, we can get away without paying. So, and again, what if we F the customer and we can get away with it? Every company will do that. So fundamentally, I genuinely do not support it. So it's a great low-cost PC that you can buy, but it will become e-waste. Now, like, no, Apple lasts very long time. Do you know what happened to the freaking trash can? Yeah, it used to overheat. Nobody talks about it. Here's the deal. Apple has this ability. I'm like, damn ability. That's why I said their marketing is genuinely good. They're like, the moment things starts to age, they're like, yeah, let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about a system that you cannot clean because, again, it's not designed to be cleaned, and it overheats, then it breaks. But again, it happens after 2-3 years, so nobody talks about it. It's like, it's a e-waste now. People support it. And then other companies are like, hey, we can make e-waste too? We do not have to think about like how the heck you're going to clean the damn system. We can sell it and people will still orgasm over it. So fundamentally, in just a few years, you will reach a point where you cannot change the OS, you cannot change the hardware, you're stuck. Like, for example, I have a 12-year-old computer, AMD FX8350, bulldozer. It's freaking bulldozer. And I'm still using it. It's an ass because, again, I was like, hey, Windows is too heavy now. No problem. Yeet Windows, put in true NAS, enjoy. You can't do that. Like, you paid for it, you can't do that. You paid the hardware, like, no. And again, hardware is same. Like, you're like, oh, it's ARM. ARM is still an independent body. It's not Apple ARM. It's ARM. UK company. So fundamentally, you cannot change the hardware. You cannot change the OS, even though you pay for it. Just few years. Just few years, it becomes a just junkyard. Again, the whole industry for this. And you have to buy 32 GB variant if you want to use it for a few years. So if you have to, if you're like, again, if you are in a field where people are paying for this, go you on it. But you do have to get into 32 GB. And that time they will be like, all the money loss they are dealing with the lower variant, they're like, they're going to do that. So that's there. And flat out, if you load heavy work file, again, you may like, oh, what are the work that need more than, there are Excel sheet, if you try to open it in less than 32 gigabyte, it will literally lock up Windows, flat out. And again, it will lock up Microsoft. So even if you have it on Mac, it's like, yeah, I can't open the file. And yes, Excel sheets are that huge. Again, not in every field. In engineering, they're like, bro, that's a basic CSV file. Here's a main engine CSV file. Try to open it up. Again, I do work with CAD. Even the small CADs, they are heavy on RAM. And again, the engineers who are working on CAD, they're like, bro, we need 24 GB VRAM. You do need a lot of RAM. And again, this is from Mac. It's like, no, it can cache it into the hard drive. That's not how it works. If it would have worked that, why would we even put RAM in the first place? You do need that. You do need that. After Effects, you need that flat out. You do need that. Again, if you're thinking as a heavy workstation, it's not. And I have no idea how the heck people think Apple is a workstation grade equipment. It's not. I worked as a 3D game artist. I worked with a lot of friends who are in VFX right now as we speak. All of the people, oh, it's Mac and all that. No. All of the VFX, it's being rendered in either HP or Dell or Lenovo. That's it. And again, that's why the Threadrippers are even made and sold. That's why you need 1 terabyte of RAM. Again, many scenes it will just, oh, you only have 32 maximum in 2025? Yeah, no, bro, no. And you're like, Unified is fast. Yeah, there are faster RAMs. That does not matter. You need space. So for that, many systems. CAD specifically, AI, CAD also includes 3D also. So CAD, AI, compiling. And again, if I open my video games texture files, first I will run out of SD space, basically SSD space. Second, then I'll run out of RAM. So flat out, it's not a practical heavy workload. It's a very lightweight computer. Yes, it can beat it, but because it's limited by RAM and SSD, you will find it's like, oh, it's a very high engine without the tires. So why can we go into PC, or what does PC give you compared to Apple? Apple spent money literally to remake the SSD format. The SSD that is available in Mac, like if you open it, look into a teardown, it's literally this, but they have changed this plug. Now, like, why would they change it? Well, if they change it, now they can copyright it. You cannot copyright M.2. Whenever you are talking about like RAM slots or PCI Express, there is an association behind it. Like there is PCI association, Bluetooth association, USB association. You cannot copyright it. You cannot block it. That's the whole point of those sort of associations. It's like, no, we standardize it and any Tom, Dick and Harry can use it. That's the whole point of it. That's why we have such a computer growth. Apple is like, but what if we want to F the customer? Because again, they knew if they are selling at cost or like very low profit margin, people will buy that and they'll swap the SSD. So they're like, okay, let's redesign the SSD, which again has exactly the same pin count. I can guarantee you it's almost dicto same. They just like change it in such a way that if somebody try to make a basic adapter, it fries the system. It's just bad, vicious engineering. They spent millions of dollars for that, for copyright and all that, just so they can have the, because here's it. If you look into Steam Deck, again, a handheld computer, they have every reason to solder everything, but they're like, hey, what if we did not F the customer? What if we use the standard that was developed by every company, including Apple, and let's just use that. The moment they did, other companies are like, hey, we can also sell micro SSDs. Enjoy, have fun. Like there are many companies, and again, all of them are 1 terabyte. I don't even know where the heck they got like such a small chips. So flat out spending money just to break compatibility, just so you can F the customer. And again, you may be like, hey, I bought 512 GB. Tomorrow, if you want to increase, you can't. You can't go into, like, again, you buy Steam Decks, you have fun for a few years, like, you know what, now my game libraries are huge. No problem, man. Upgrade it to 2 terabyte. Right now, you can do that. And heck, who knows how high you can go. I am reasonably sure 8 terabyte is on the horizon. So flat out, whenever you are talking about a computer, you make it exactly what you need. You need a lot of PCI Express, you get PCI Express. You need a lot of ambidextrous performance, you get ambidextrous performance. You choose what you do. And again, if you are a dedicated individual, it's like, no, I need masterpiece. This is the best masterpiece I have seen. Whereas like somebody was like, I'm an engineer. I need a very high performance computer, like actual high performance CAD kind of heavy loading SolidWorks kind of performance. He's like, yeah, I built my own. I've linked the video down below. It's the most masterpiece hardware. And it's ADA GPU that is like 24 GB VRAM. You need that. And yeah, no, that 32 GB Apple will not work. You do need some like Quadro to do that sort of work. And yes, they also did the one amazing thing. The power supply is in it. It's a micro power supply. It's like it's heavy power consumption. Yeah, but it can do heavy work also. So it's like, yeah, diesel locomotive consumes a lot more diesel, but it moves hundreds of tons compared to few tons. Efficient. So it's a really good thing if you want to in computer. And again, this is like very extreme. This is like artist. And there are some other ones. Again, I also like this Dell system. And again, both of them have earthing. How the heck Apple got away without earthing on a metal body is beyond me. Or that's just cruel. That's just like, no, lol. Rules does not apply for me. So flat out, you can build your custom masterpiece, and you're like, okay, it's gonna cost a lot. Yeah, that's absolutely true, but it's also gonna last very long time. Right now, that's the whole point of my desktop. My second PC that is 12 years old, I can still spend money on it and still make it useful today. I can add, like, it has only 16 GB of RAM. I can add another 16 GB and have more hard drives for proper cataloging and all that. I can have fun. You can't do that with Apple. Again, that SSD part really bothered me. It's like, it's somebody sitting around. Like, can you imagine that engineer would be, sir, what do you want me to do? Sir, you do know M.2 exists, right? We used to use this. Then you literally started replacing it because it's like, what if we have the customer? Like, no, it's about speed and all that. Trust me, every sort of encryption, every sort of speed is available in that. And these puppies are used in server. Of course, it's used with U.2, but wiring is exactly the same. It's just fundamentally, they're like, what if we spend money to F the customer? What if we spend money to make e-waste? And I'm old enough where I've seen all their e-waste pile up. So yeah, fundamentally, it's not acceptable. And again, once Apple gets away with it, Dell is like, what if we had proprietary BS in our hardware? That's why I hate anybody who likes Apple. It's like, Apple is not a good company. Anybody who supports Apple fundamentally harms the whole industry. If you reward this sort of bad behavior, like, again, Valve could have done that, but they're like, no, we're going to use it. Asus could have done that. They're like, no, we're going to use standard parts. Everybody is like, no, we are. And again, even in RAM, companies are like, hey, the sodium format will not work. Let's develop a new format so we can swap RAMs so laptops can last much longer. But Apple is like, but what if we don't? So fundamentally speaking, you can buy software setups, hardware setups exactly and scale it as your need. So that's what you get in a PC. And I genuinely do not really, oh, it just works. That's a fancy way of saying that you are done. And again, more you learn, the more freedom you get. The more you give your freedom to someone else, and you will learn the hard way that, hey, wait a minute, something bad happened to my system and I cannot recover the files. So that's why fundamentally, under no circumstances I ever indulge buying Apple, no matter what, because again, it's harming yourself and everybody around you. So this was my presentation on basically how the heck there is a cheap Mac. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.